It's from the New York Post. We're actually pulling up the New York Post. Twitter, Facebook censor post over Hunter Biden expose. I wonder if we're going to get shut off if YouTube will pull the stream down.
Let's find out.
Let's keep reading. Both Twitter and Facebook took extraordinary censorship measures against the Post on Wednesday over its exposés about Hunter Biden's emails and leveled baseless accusations that the reports used hacked materials. The suppression effort came despite presidential candidate Joe Biden's campaign merely denying that he had anything on his official schedules about meeting a Ukrainian energy executive in 2015, along with zero claims that his son's computer had been hacked. The Post's primary Twitter account was locked as of 2:20 p.m. Wednesday because its articles about the messages obtained from Biden's laptop broke the social network's rules against, quote, distribution of hacked material, according to an email the Post received from Twitter. Twitter also blocked users from sharing the link to the Post, indicating that Hunter Biden introduced Joe Biden to the Ukrainian businessman, calling the link potentially harmful. Now that is a fat load of crap. Harmful link to the New York Post? That's a whole...
Well, harmful to whom?
To Joe Biden.
Exactly right.
Yeah, we saw it was Andy Stone. He worked for the Democrats. He was on the Senate Majority PAC. He worked for the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, and now he works for Facebook. And he said, "We're going to suppress this. We're going to suppress this story straight up." And all these journalists are anti-journalists. Sorry, these people are depraved, man. No joke. Like utter depravity. They just want power.
It's not good enough to be a journalist. You have to be not a journalist. You have to be
It is not good enough to simply be a journalist. You must actively be anti-journalist.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing.
What they're doing here is they've lost the battle of ideas. They've lost the upper hand. They've lost the high ground. And what they've done is instead of trying to change people's minds and opinions and ideas, they change the rules of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like a little kid slamming the table and screaming and flipping the board over and over again because you're winning in chess.
I think, Trump, whatever he posts on Twitter, people will mirror his account sometimes. They'll make a new account, just whatever Trump tweets out. They'll tweet it out, and they've been banning those accounts. They leave Trump up. So it seems like they're not anti-Trump. They're just excessively authoritarian.
They're anti-Trump, but they would ban Trump if they could, but it would cause too many problems for them.
But it's too much hearsay. I'm just feeling like this is going to ban.
Trump's,
I know how it goes being an admin, a social media admin. You have total control over what you want to ban.
Yeah. Trump's tweets will get flagged and they'll claim he's breaking the rules. My favorite was when they were like, Trump needs to be banned for breaking the rules on violent or threatening posts because he threatened North Korea. And I'm like, oh, well, hold on a minute. There's a difference between, I agree, Trump should chill out when threatening other countries, but he's also the president, the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. And if he's making a statement about the might of America versus our adversaries, can we ban that? Could you imagine if Twitter does do that?
What are they going to do with Trump after the presidency is over? Whether it's, hopefully not going.
Have you seen?
But 4 years from now, what happens then? They just going to ban him outright after that? Or it's too much of a cash cow for them?
Have you seen the Ryan Long comedy skit he did on this?
Mm-mm.
The journalists 1 month after the election, they're all sweaty and freaking out. What do we write about? And someone's like, we can write about how Trump. No, Trump is just a guy now.
Right.
That's doomed. Where we're headed.
They're doomed. Well, they'll just go back to doing what they did before, which is just regurgitating without any question or skepticism everything that the Democrats hand them to produce.
Yep.
Dude, the news in this country is
alive and well right here, Tim Pool.
That's right.
Kind of.
Correct.
Look, conservatives do very little journalism. Very little. They mostly do commentary and response. They chase after the narrative put out by the left, so the left is framing everything. Now, the left has gotten so absurd with their framing that now people are starting to go, what? And the New York Post is not on the left, and they do journalism. I'm just saying there's a tendency of most of the sourcing and publishing and statements being made that are definitive news stories. I don't mean factual. I mean this is a news story and here's what happened. It's left bias. Absolutely left bias. And then you end up with rating agencies, Media Bias Fact Check, NewsGuard, a bunch of these websites that they base what's centrist off of establishment left-leaning media. Yeah. I want to read this line here from Twitter. They say, in line with our hacked materials policy, as well as our approach to blocking URLs, we are taking action to block any links to or images of the material in question on Twitter, a Twitter spokesperson told the Post in a statement. The company said it took the step because of the lack of authoritative reporting on where the materials included in the Post story originated. They said they originated from a laptop. So for those that don't know the story, did you guys hear the story yet? Or?
We did. We read the story, talked about it a little bit. Let's talk about it some more, though. Maybe I missed something.
So this guy at a repair shop, somebody comes in and gives them a waterlogged computer. Doesn't work. So he copies the hard drive and then, tries to fix it. I guess he couldn't fix it. And eventually, dude never shows up. He couldn't identify Hunter Biden as the dude. The computer had Beau Biden Foundation on it. So apparently he gave a copy to Rudy Giuliani's lawyer, and then he gave a copy to the feds. Apparently he gave the copy to Rudy Giuliani's lawyer a year ago. Did you hear that?
No.
I wonder if they've been sitting on it until
Yep.
what month is it?
Oh yeah.
Is it October?
Right. Yeah, I'm very
It's
surprised.
October. What do you know?
Huh.
So look, I'll say it straight up. Dirty politics. However, if it's true, it's true.
Indeed.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a picture with him laying in bed with a crack pipe in his mouth.
Theoretically, hypothetically, so it could be a weed.
It looks
pipe.
like it.
Yeah, we were debating this earlier
nah.
because it looks like there's
a
resin
crack
in the
pipe, dude.
bowl.
It's a crack pipe.
which could be just THC resin. That
It's a
could be
crack.
resin.
It's a crack.
But it also could be freebasing. And
There's-
you said you smoked crack. Or had-
you've smoked weed out of a bowl, right?
yeah,
That's got choke on it?
yeah.
You-
shotgun.
The carb or whatever.
Carb, yeah.
Yeah. This thing he's got in his mouth does not have
But then
that.
after
It
you,
does not.
it doesn't have one of those.
No.
It doesn't need
It's a
one. Though.
crack
You can
pipe.
smoke weed out of a pipe without a carb on it.
I don't look. I don't.
Look,
you can.
if you're smoking crack, you're probably a connoisseur of some kind. So you're getting the right pipe.
Yeah, I would
He's
think
got
so.
the right pipe.
Like
The question I had about this too, because we were talking about this a little before, is like, isn't Hunter Biden rich? He's getting $83,000 a month from
That's
this
right.
crooked Burisma
Ballin'.
deal, and he opts for crack instead of that sweet Colombian
No,
pure.
they're from Scranton, dude.
Yeah, that's right.
They are working. They're just regular salt of the earth people. Hey, he's not above smoking crack. Just to be Joe Biden's new thing. Don't go supporting this Wall Street people, these Park Avenue people. Support me and my family. We are a salt of the earth. We are from Scranton. We are not even above smoking crack, yo.
Well, there's
Love it.
selling me on them.
so
Oh, man,
now
I
that
like
we're
it.
shifting from the very serious death to free speech in this country,
Right, yeah. Crack pipes.
But we actually got the story. We got to follow this up. Check this out.
Oh.
Cocaine pipe and white powdery substance found in Hunter Biden's rental car in 2016 from the Washington Examiner. Say a police report said that Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, returned a rental car in Arizona that contained a cocaine pipe days before the 2016 presidential election, according to a new report. Hunter Biden's first name is Robert. Also left credit cards, driver's licenses, Delaware, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we get it. Let me.
It was his.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So look, we got this photo now. It shows Joe Biden's son with like a crack pipe in his mouth. This is not even the serious news. The serious news is that Joe Biden lied, apparently. I gotta say
Right.
apparently, we gotta be very careful here. We got a presidential election. But the email suggests that the Ukrainian businessman from Burisma, the third most powerful man, said thank you for giving me the opportunity to thank you for bringing me to DC and giving me the opportunity to meet with your dad or whatever or something and spend time with him. It was like poor English, so it's kind of confusing. I think Bloomberg said being granted the opportunity doesn't mean he actually met.
Yeah, but have
I'm
you
like,
ever?
Thanks for the opportunity. That's what you say.
Yeah.
Thanks for the
Yeah.
opportunity. Appreciate it. It was great.
Right, that's weird.
Yeah,
what
but-
do you mean? Thanks for the opportunity to come to your house. It's too bad we didn't do it. That's weird.
Right. I'm glad you sort of switched back to the important news because we should say one thing. Like, it's obvious Hunter Biden dealing with drug addiction. Drug addiction is very serious. Many of us,
Right.
almost all of us, know somebody struggling with drug addiction. It's generally not a laughing matter. And you know what? Prayers up, Hunter Biden. Hopefully one day he can get that under control. Right. And so, but what the real story? Let's not be distracted by the crack pipe.
Yeah.
The real story is possibly him peddling influence and connections with his father, getting paid to do it all along the way.
It's interesting. The story that's being blocked is specifically about this businessman meeting his dad.
Yeah.
So this is really interesting. I think the House Judiciary Committee, Judiciary GOP says Twitter has blocked users from tweeting the link to the New York Post story on Hunter Biden. So we put it on our website for you to read and share.
Love it.
And it links to the Republicans' judiciary.house.gov. And it's the story. So is Twitter now going to block a .gov? That would be very, very interesting. Yeah.
It doesn't seem to be beyond them at this point.
Yeah.
So let me break down for everybody who doesn't understand what's happening here, what the seriousness of this story. It's a viral video where Joe Biden says, I wanted, I'll paraphrase, I want to get this prosecutor in Ukraine fired. So I think it was $1 billion loan guarantee. Mm-hmm. The U.S. is going to loan Ukraine $1 billion. And so he went to the prime minister and said, if you don't fire him, you're not getting the money. And the guy says, you can't do that. Only the president can. He goes, call the president and ask him. So, and then he's like, sure enough, 6 hours later, he's like, I'm getting ready to leave. Son of a B. Guy got fired. Everyone starts laughing and clapping. The first response I had to that was because you got the right saying he's manipulating this to protect his son because his son was on the board of this company. The prosecutor was investigating that company. Then you get the left saying it's not true. The EU thought he was corrupt. They want to get rid of him as well. My response is, why is the vice president going to any country and bribing them to interfere in internal affairs for these other countries? Like that to me on its own is kind of like, that's true. I don't like that idea that the U.S. goes to foreign countries and says, we'll give you $1 billion to fire your prosecutor.
Do you think that that's a new evolution
Of
in
course
American
not.
foreign
No, of course
policy,
not.
though?
No,
Right.
No, that's so my understanding is typically the way it works is we go there, we say, listen here, we're America, huh? You get rid of this prosecutor, we'll give you $1 billion. You don't take the $1 billion, maybe things get a little bad. Maybe your auntie has an accident, you know what I'm saying? And then, sure enough, you don't take the money, and then protest forms, and then...
Or you don't get that anti-aircraft, sales go through that you thought you were going to get. You can't buy the self-defense, weaponry that you thought you were going to get. You don't get the loan from the IMF or the World Bank that you thought that you were going to get. You don't get the investment in a port or an airport or whatever it is that you thought that you might get. We've been doing this kind of crap forever.
Right.
Have you read Confessions of an Economic Hitman?
Yeah, I was going to mention that.
There's 3 steps. The first is economic. If they don't fall for it, then you send in the people to try and assassinate the leader. And if
I thought that was the last one.
That's the second one. If you can't assassinate the leader, then you go to war.
Yep.
Yeah,
I remember watching that. So what was that guy like? He was like CIA or
He's
something?
great, yeah. You read his book. Check him out on YouTube.
So
I can't remember his name, though.
It works even on the individual level. The first thing anyone tries to do is bribe you. If they can give you some cash and you'll do their bidding, it's the easiest way to get it done. Otherwise, they're going to start pressuring you and threatening you and your family. If they can't deal with you and you won't solve, and the problem can't be solved, they off you.
And if they can't, then they go to war. Literally, in
I just mean like for an individual.
Iraq, for instance, they went to war because they couldn't get Saddam.
They tried to kill him, they couldn't do it. So we, the United States, marched in for no reason.
Our representatives.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, we the people.
So look. I understand this is a normal process. And I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm just saying it's routine where the U.S. says, like, we got $1 billion. Why don't you take it and fire this guy? And they took it and they fired the guy. Here's the crazy bit about this. The guy was investigating Burisma. Now, some outlets argue he wasn't actually. There was an open investigation. It was inactive. And I'm kind of like, so you admit there's an investigation. Like, the status of the investigation is less relevant to me because it could be inactive because it went cold. I don't know. It could be inactive because the dude started cooperating or because it led them out. There's a million reasons it could be inactive.
Or $1 billion.
Yeah. Infinite. I have no idea. All I know is they opened an investigation. It became inactive for some reason. Joe Biden says this guy wasn't investigating Burisma. That's why they wanted to fire him. So Hunter Biden, Joe Biden's son, is on the board of this company. And we believe, based on all the evidence, specifically because he's selling his father's influence. It's like you can't give Joe Biden money, but you can give Hunter money. You give Hunter that $83,000 a month contract. All of a sudden, Joe Biden's doing you favors and getting rid of that prosecutor. That's the allegation. Here's the best part. Joe Biden says this prosecutor, Victor Shokin, was not investigating this corruption at Burisma. That's why we wanted him gone. And so, son of a B, right? That's what he said. Guy got fired. Guess what? New prosecutor comes in, clears Zlochevsky of all wrongdoing.
Huh.
That's weird.
Right.
So
That's
strange.
weird.
Right.
I thought the prosecutor was supposed to be investigating him. Turns out the new prosecutor who came in, no problems. You're free to go, buddy. Zlochevsky comes back to the Ukraine, working like no big deal. Then in 2018, during the Trump administration, new charges get brought back. Zlochevsky flees to Monaco under Trump. I'm not saying there's a correlation like between Trump and this. I'm just telling you, if Joe Biden's excuse is legitimate, that he was supposed to be investigating this guy, and the new prosecutor found no wrongdoing, then Joe Biden got a prosecutor fired for not going after an innocent man. That's the official story of Joe Biden. Now, I think most of us assume Joe Biden's probably crooked, especially with these emails. And what he was really doing was cutting a favor for his son who was getting the cash. His son's getting paid. There was an email saying, thanks for introducing me. I think it was like almost a little bit less than a year later. Joe Biden flies out there, fired the guy. As soon as he got fired.
And when you say they're investigating Burisma, what were they investigating them for?
Zlochevsky. So I think his name is Mykola Zlochevsky, was the founder of Burisma. He's corrupt. He's been accused of a bunch of things. And along with the work he did, Burisma is the periphery. What Burisma was involved in is directly related to what Zlochevsky was doing. So Shokin argued that he was actually looking at the executives of this company as well because of their involvement. Why? Listen, throw that all aside. it's got to be said. Why in the ever living is Joe Biden's son, who doesn't speak Ukrainian, who has no experience in the energy sector, getting paid $83,000 a month to be on the board of this company?
Right.
Biden. That's why. His name. And in one of the stories from the New York Post, it looks like in the email, I say it looks like because I got to be very careful here. He's saying like, once people realize like our guy and what he says, our guy's coming in. The New York Post is asserting that he was using his dad, Joe Biden's visit to influence, to gain more money. Like going to these companies and saying, hey, my dad's coming. You got to pony up. We can't tell him, Joe, what to do. But, I love. See, Lydia, see if you can find this story.
Yeah.
It's from Politico magazine about the corruption of the Biden family. And it's from a few years ago about how Biden's brother, his kids have all just come into all this great money. I was having a conversation earlier today, and I thought of something. I think Donald Trump's got a lot of problems. I think Joe Biden's got a lot of problems. And I said, you know what? I'd rather take the guy who's losing money trying to get reelected than take the guy who's trying to get elected to make money. You found it?
Yeah, I found it.
Oh, look at this.
Oh, snap.
Here we go, baby.
Biden Inc.
Biden Inc. Over his decades in office, middle-class Joe's family fortunes have closely tracked his political career.
Weird.
August 2nd, 2019. Look at that. They talk about his brother. They talk about his son purchasing a firm. What's that firm they had? What was it called? Rosemont Seneca. All that magic money flying.
Why else get into politics?
That's right.
Joe Biden has been in politics for 47 years.
47 years.
And he made himself very wealthy.
And his brother.
What'd you say? Salt of the earth from Scranton?
Right, exactly.
Now, what's he worth now? Several $1 million.
How is it that he had to even pay $3 million in taxes in 2017? Like, why? Where's that income coming from, and why?
That's the name of the game, dude. You get into politics, you get the power, then you peddle that influence.
First you get the money.
Yeah, exactly. First you get the political position.
Right.
I think about, could you imagine, imagine this scenario. Somebody gets elected to say Senate or whatever, and then gets appointed to some administration position, maybe like Secretary of State, and they launch a nonprofit foundation.
I'm tracking.
And it brings in hundreds of millions of dollars and donations from all of these foreign countries, while the person whose name is on the nonprofit foundation,
no one would ever do that.
Is like the Secretary of State or something.
No.
What?
Could you imagine? Let me ask you though, for those that are listening, if I told you that we had a Secretary of State who also had a nonprofit that received foreign donations from a bunch of different countries, what would you think about that?
Well, we got to give it a hypothetical name, like the Clinton Foundation.
Yeah, that's a good hypothetical name. Yeah, we'll call it the Clinton Foundation. So just hypothetically, if the Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton, hypothetically, ran a foundation, the Clinton Foundation, was receiving money from a bunch of foreign countries while they were the Secretary of State. I mean, that just reeks of corruption, doesn't it?
Dude, you go deep into her involvement with Sidney Blumenthal, who has this company, Global Osprey Solutions. They wanted to set up weapons deals in Libya, and so Hillary was like, "Yeah." Sid, in her emails, came out with her stuff with Sidney, who's been advising the Clintons since the '90s. Yeah, we'll get you guys set up in Libya when we go in with our guys. Then she tells Barack, "Let's go into Libya." As the Secretary of State, sets up her buddy with weapons deals, arms contracts.
We came, we saw, he died.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, Joe Biden supposedly paid $3 million in taxes in 2017. If you've got a good CPA or whatever, that's tens of millions of dollars that he's earning. Now, people say Trump is using the presidency to trade up financially, right? To enrich himself.
The dude's got a golden toilet.
Right. So how is it, though, that Joe Biden makes it to the point where he's earning tens of millions of dollars to pay $3 million in taxes in 1 year? How is that not the whole time enriching himself through his political
you gotta ask yourself. Now, Nancy Pelosi, her personal net worth is actually, I think, in the 8 digits, but her husband is extremely wealthy, so her married net worth is like $200 million.
Yikes.
But still, you got to ask yourself, how is that somebody runs for Congress? Their salary is like $170K per year. Now they're millionaires.
It's book deals a lot of times and like speaking deals,
which is exactly leveraging their political office to make money.
For sure. But think about this: you could write a book, and then a PAC could buy up, 10,000 copies for distribution.
I bet that never happens.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It literally does happen.
There's rooms filled with boxes full of books somewhere that no one ever read.
Yep. Yeah. And it's left and right. It's Republican and Democrat.
Yeah.
I think Trump's very, very different, though, and it's really funny to me. I saw a post from somebody, and they were like, there's no, what was Socks, the cat? Is that the cat's name? Mm-hmm. What was the dog's name? The Clinton had or something? I don't know.
Barney?
No, it's like, bushes. They were like, there's no Fido, there's no dogs, there's no roses in the rose garden. They've been ripped out by this, like literally insulted Melania for being a foreigner. And it was like, what's happened to our country? And I'm like, is that what you were worried about this whole time? Like, there's no dog at the White House?
The roses.
The roses are gone? Is that what you were worried about? Because I was worried about the fact that we blew up like a bunch of kids in a foreign country. That was freaking me out the whole time. Like, I'm sitting there like, well, I can't, what's going on? Why are we doing this?
Robot assassins on one hand, not a dog in the yard on the other. I don't know. If the White House doesn't have crap in the lawn, is it really the White House? I'm going to go back one more time to this 2017 taxes thing because I'm stuck on this.
Yeah, man.
He got elected at the end of 2016, Trump did. Took office at the beginning of 2017, right? As part of taking office, he's supposed to move all his money away, not make any money, whatever. He gets paid 400 whatever grand to be the president, but he gives all that money away. So didn't we demand that he make no money in 2017? Wasn't that the demand right off the bat? And now the guy reports he didn't make any money, so he's not paying any taxes. Like, how is that a story?
We got you.
It's not a
story. But he paid tax. He paid $1 million in 2016.
Millions and millions of other kinds of taxes. It's such a ridiculous thing.
This is what's shocking to me. I think the New York Times there's a clear case for libel for Trump. That story they put out about his taxes opens with Trump only paid $750 in taxes. And then halfway down it says Trump actually paid a total of $5.2 million. But his liability was only $750, but he did pay millions. So why, if in the beginning they said he only paid $750, the one line people read and then X'd out, but they knew that wasn't true, and later on said the total payment was actually in the millions, isn't that proving they lied and they knew they lied?
They presented a fact, one fact, without the rest of the facts, which actually are
no. It is factually untrue that Trump only paid $750. That is not correct.
Oh, I see.
Should have said he owed $750.
He was liable for $750.
Oh, there we go.
The opening line of the New York Times story said Trump paid $750. If you actually read the story, they said Trump actually paid $1 million in 2016 and 4.2 in 2017, but after calculating his losses, was only liable for $750. Trump let the IRS hold that money for all future payments. Right. Meaning, Trump paid the IRS millions of dollars, and then when it turned out his liability was low because of losses, he said, just keep the money, and we'll apply it later. So Trump paid millions of dollars.
Well, I guess it's factually true. If you pay $1 million, you've also paid $750.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yep.
That's the dirty tricks of the anti-journalists.
Smart.
Reminds me of Rick and Morty. I don't know if you've seen it. Where you've seen it.
I love that.
The one where Morty's in the simulation and he's like, he gets asked like, what's 9 times 8? And he's like, it's at least 45. That's right. It is at least 45. That's exactly what it is. Yeah. Trump paid. You know that Trump paid $1 in taxes last year. $1.
Another $749.
Exactly.
On top of that,
and well, after that he paid millions and millions.
Right.
But that $1,
he did. Yeah,
he paid $1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. We do the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. So come back to check us out when we go live. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, and we are also available on all podcast platforms for free if you want to listen to us there. Thanks for hanging out, and we will see you all next time.